Just growing up in Hawaii, fighting is what led me to fighting. I remember being young and wanting to do like karate or boxing, and my mom was like, no, you're not doing any of those. You can play sports, that's about it. And I was like, oh, whatever. And then I just started getting into fights. And then it wasn't until after high school, I went to a JUCO in San Diego. I came back, I was 240 pounds out of shape, just big and needed to, do something to get back into shape. And at that time, the gym wasn't for me. Like, I had no motivation to be there. So then I was like, fuck, I want to do something. There's no football that I can play. Right. So I started just training. Like, this kid I was working with at the time was like, hey, we train in this guy's garage. You want to come train? I was like, yeah, how much does it cost? He's like, free. I was like, sign me up.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Verse Us with Eric Nixick. He is Eric Nixick. I am Randy Fainrich, and this is Verse Us. Verse Us with Eric Nixick is presented by Macros Gelato, a high-protein gelato with 60 grams of protein per pint with high-quality dairy and whey protein isolate designed to aid muscle recovery and growth. Macros Gelato is available beginning in August online at macrosgelato.com. All right, today's guest is the Extreme Couture OG, the captain of the gym, 14-year UFC vet. Welcome to the show, Brad Tavares. How are you, man?
Thank you guys for having me.
How are you?
About fucking time.
About time.
Let's go.
About time. When you hear 14-year vet, do you process that as like, man, I've been in this game a minute? Or does it feel like...
Bro, it's only recently, really, I would say, because I still tell people, it feels like just yesterday when I was the new guy on the team, just coming in here and like being wowed by Jay Hiran and Martin Kampman and those guys. And at the time, Randy was still training and on the mats and getting to train with him. And now we fast forward these 14 years, and now we've just recently had a few kids, and they're not even kids, they're adults now, 21 years old, they can drink legally, and they'll come up to me and they'll be like, bro, I've been watching you since I was a little kid. And I'm like, damn, bro, you got a full beard, you fucking drinking some beers, and you've been watching me since you was a kid. Like, makes me feel old. But then that kind of stuff, it sinks in, like, yeah, I've been at this a while. And just having the up and coming guys at the gym, really looking up to me lately. Like, I've had the quote unquote captain title for a while. But it's nothing, I don't know, I'm the type of guy, it's whatever to me, Mm-hmm. But lately I've been really noticing it, the younger and up and coming guys, they really do look up to me as the captain, oh, captain. And it is pretty cool, Yeah. So just, to think where I started, which felt like yesterday, and to where I am now.
That's insane. We have some stats that Eric and I were looking up off camera before. Do you want to go, or you want me to just roll through them?
Yeah, roll through them, but let's kind of talk about them a little bit, though.
Yeah, I definitely want to. So, in your 14 years, second all-time in total fights at middleweight, second all-time in total wins at middleweight, second all-time in total fight time at middleweight, and then a slew of other things that you're top 5, top 10 in. When you hear those things, and I think this weekend you'll tie Bisping for total fights at middleweight, and with a win you'll beat Bisping. You'll beat Bisping in total fights at middleweight this weekend, and with a win you'll tie him for most wins all time at UFC Middleweight. When you hear that stuff, and I know you just talked about it briefly, but when you hear that, do you kind of take a second to just think back of holy shit, man, I've been in this a while? And
yeah, sometimes. So in the moment right now, the fact that we're bringing it up and that you're talking to me about it, then yeah, definitely, it is something, mm-hmm. I'm one of those guys though, I'm super chill and laid back, and in all ways I'm always been me, and I always will be me. So I don't know how to put it without,
you don't like talking about yourself too much, do
nah,
you?
Yeah, it is cool, I don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I do like and appreciate it, and I do, in a moment like now, we're talking about it, I can sit back and be like, yeah, wow, I freaking, I put in some time in this sport. We put in some time in this sport. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I leave here, it'll be out of my mind till the next time they ask it. But no, yeah, it is something. It is an accomplishment, I guess you could say. That I I don't know. I guess I kind of hold it high, but not really.
Yeah. What's it been like for you to watch like this evolution in him like climb those ranks and just have like this?
It's very similar to the way I feel about like with Dan, but Brad opened different opportunities for me. You know, Brad believed in me in a time when, you know, he opened the doors for me, right? Like Dennis Davis, Ray Sefo, and Brad Tavares. Without those three, I'm not sitting here today. So Brad believed in me in a time where like we were more training partners, but he brought me along, you know, to be part of what we do. And then once other people notice a guy like Brad, like, oh, why is Eric in Brad's corner? Or what's Eric doing for Brad? Or however, he saw this in me well before other people did. But I think it provided that more opportunities for me later on down the line, you know, and helped me understand like what high level coaching consisted of, and being around the likes of Ray and Brad and coming up through the ranks, man. Like I always tell people that you always think back at your career, there's always somebody you can always point to that opened that door for you. And for me, it's always going to be Brad.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have had what, 12 years together, 10 years
14.
together?
Yeah.
So you've been there from the beginning.
Yeah. We've been like training as far as like, it's funny because like even to this day, like I obviously give Eric his credit as like, I'll refer to him as like, oh, one of the coaches, right? Like we obviously game plan, we work on things, this, that, and whatever. But like even with Ray, like, you know, like I see these guys as just my brothers, you know, like these are my brothers, and they've always been there, you know, and they'll always be there. Yeah. But yeah, in like a formal sense, I guess, if somebody were to ask, like, yeah, like, oh yeah, Coach Eric Nixick. Like in fact, I just did the UFC just hit me up and they're like, oh, can you update your online yada? I don't even know what it's for. And I kind of put it off and they hit me up again like, hey, can you please send that to us? And it was like, oh yeah, list your coaches. So I listed, it was funny because I put Ray, Eric, Devin.
I love it.
I put Devin too. And then some other stuff. But yeah, so yeah, E's been there from the beginning of me getting out here to Vegas. And yeah, like he said, you know, we just started out like just boys, you know, like I was always like comfortable having him around me, and I respected and looked forward to what his input in things, right? So it was more so like brothers rather than coach student. But I mean, at the end of the day, that is what it is. He takes the role of the coach, I am the student. But as far as how it started, you know, it's like that's how it was, and that's how it still is.
I was his Tim Boach.
Boach.
Dude, he still signs my checks to Tim Boach. Like my envelope.
Damn, I never even thought about that.
Oh,
you guys
bro.
do have some similarities.
Yeah, we're in Maine. So, you know, Brad and I are in Maine together, and we're like, you know, go to the grocery store, you know, cruising, whatever. And people are like, Brad's fighting Tim Boach. And people are like, dude, why are you hanging out with your opponent this whole fight week?
Bro, so I'll like every year or whatever, I'll post a picture of me and Tim Boach on his birthday. And I'll be like, happy birthday, Eric.
Tag Tim.
That's incredible. So we're going to get to the kind of the genesis of like the fighting career and your guys' relationship. But I want to talk briefly, you know, about this week, because this is a big week for you.
Yep.
Again, we just mentioned you're fighting on Saturday. You will, you know, there's a number of records that you're going to tie or break or whatever. You know, this is however many fights with you guys, but like, how is preparation for a week like this? What does a week look like for you two in terms of preparing for a fight, traveling? Like, it kind of explain to our audience what like a fight week looks like for on both of your sides.
So for me, well, let's just take this fight for example. We're here, we're at home, so I get to sleep in my own bed. We'll go in. Just right now, this week is all about just, you're not gonna grow, I would say, this week. All of the hard work is done, right? It's all about just staying mentally sharp, try to stay as physically sharp as possible, and then also for me is just preparing for the weight cut. How do I put this to the weight cut? Like people always ask me like, oh, is it a hard weight cut, whatever? And I don't want to say it's easy because it never is, but it's not one of those things. Like I've witnessed people like borderline kill themselves to try and make weight. And I'm like, bro, like this fighting would not even be fun for me if that's what I was going through. So so for me this week is just kind of that, and then the normal freaking, we gotta go check in, sign posters, and get the equipment. You know, like the The usual, the media here and there, the photos and whatnot. So, and then once that's all done, Thursday we get the weight cut started, and that's probably the most important part until the fight.
Yeah, no throwing up in the tub.
I'll try not to. That's like the weird part. I say the difference for us being like at a home game.
Mm-hmm.
I actually prefer being on the road.
Yeah, this guy likes to travel.
Yeah.
I like to travel, especially because like I get like the time with Brad, Devin, Ray, the boys. We're going to dinners together. We're doing everything together on the road with no distractions. The focus is main focus is on Brad and the task at hand. So I do like that sometimes, that environment. The convenience of being at home is nice. You have your family and everything else. But I have a gym to run. I have a family, right? And then I feel like my fighter gets like third on that list where it's like, no, I want that to be number one, you know, until like the weight cut.
Yeah.
The weight cut time is like, okay, you know, and everybody, if I said to Annie that I'm staying at the Cosmo this week with Brad, she's 100% on board.
Right.
But just because of the hustle and bustle of the entire week, you're still running practices, you're still doing all your gym stuff, right? And then you have your family at home. It just doesn't always feel like a fight week when you're on the road with the boys. You know?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I didn't know that. I don't think our audience knows that either. So when it's a home game, you're sleeping in your own bed. You're at home every day. You're still running practices at the gym. Normal work week. You're not
100%.
like
Yeah.
because when we're in like Anaheim or something, it's like you're at the hotel.
Yep,
It's just with
that's
the
it.
fighter.
That's it.
But so you guys are still doing like your
Yeah, well,
your
but
day.
everything gets scheduled around Brad, like our fight
Right.
time. Like he'll probably be fighting like 5, whatever the time is, right?
Yeah.
Our main card starts at 5. I don't know. And he's co-main event, so we'll schedule our training sessions around that time, and then but you'll have a regular day, and then Brad will go, hey, I'm coming in after pro practice to hit pads or run game plans, and we'll run the rest of our week.
Yeah.
You know, but you're still doing like usually we're just sitting around a hotel room just talking
Right.
shit.
As far as as far as that's the one thing I will say too, because like he knows me, I hate having to travel. Like I like being able to fight right there. It is nice, but that being said, I always do look forward to those trips. Like once I'm packed, I hate packing. Once I'm packed, then I'm like looking forward to it, and yeah, I'm gonna miss my family, my girls, you know, but once we're out on the road, bro, from the time we get on that plane to the time we get off of that plane back here, like it is just
Roasted.
fun, you know. And
Roasted.
even funner, you know, as long as we're winning. But
Right.
no matter what, it's always a great trip. It's always memories made. You know, time that you know, like that, like he said, that we don't really get here when we are at home because we have all our other obligations, family life, gym life, et cetera, et cetera. When you're on the road, you literally have one job, and it's just, okay, we're going to work out today, the rest of the day, what are we going to do? Hang out, eat, whatever, you know, like, and it's always fun.
Yeah. Are you you mentioned like, you know, this week is a week, it's not a week to get better. It's more of a week of like maintenance.
Yeah.
Are you going to the gym at Extreme Couture and like not necessarily sparring or wrestling, but like are you working out during those classes, or are you guys doing like privates afterward, or how's that work?
We got our own little private thing going, and not private as far as like nobody can see us.
No, but I mean,
but just us,
one-on-ones,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
One-on-one
one-on-one,
work.
yeah. And it's just more, it's very specific, you know, like working things like that we see.
tactics and strategy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
something that we might come upon in the fight, like this position or this, you know, whatever it is, and those are the type of things we work on, and always just working on, you know, being sharp both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you cannot, like there's people like Sean, for
I was
instance.
just gonna say, so you're not sparring.
My
with
guy
Sean
will
Strickland.
spar all the way up until the fight itself, and like even I cornered him once, and we were sparring before the fight. I think it was when he fought Cannonier.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I'm like, okay, I understand, Sean, but then he's like, hit me harder, Tavares. I'm like, bro, are you about
Like
to
on the
fight?
day of the fight.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
right before the fight.
Warm up, bro.
Warm up.
Scrapping.
Oh,
He's
shit.
like, kick me. But like you can go a little harder. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
Bro,
bro,
you're
like
about to
we're
fight.
gonna fight before you fight, all right? But
Straight
nah,
up psycho.
not me. Like I feel like once you get to fight week, like all the hard work should have been done, and for me, it is all done, and it's just about now, just you know, fine tuning that focus, you know, getting right in the mind, and then just making sure that everything else follows along.
Yeah. What about his opponent? It's the South Korean guy,
Yeah,
correct?
Park.
Park. Yeah.
Park.
What are some things? Obviously, no game plan, no strategy, anything. But like, what are some things you guys have seen in him, and what kind of are you preparing for?
Gritty. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He's kind of gritty. He's kind of there. He's not great at anything in particular, but very good all around.
Yeah.
He's a guy that I think that can really like slow the fight down, and by doing so, putting the fight into his element by like just kind of doing enough to win.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For us, to be honest with you, it's athleticism and speed from Brad, and a lot of just picking this dude apart, movement, exit, redo it all over again, you know, and then hopefully find that KO somewhere down that line, right?
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, this dude's, you know, he's good, but I don't think he's anywhere where Brad is.
Yeah. Are you guys both watching film, or is that something? Because, you know, some fighters, even some athletes, are just like, I like to watch film, or I don't watch anything. My coaches watch everything. Are you guys watching together? Are you not a film watcher? How does that work?
I'll usually watch it.
Yeah, he usually does like the film stuff and like will present stuff to me. Ray the same. Even Devin will watch stuff and like be like, hey bro, I was watching this, that, whatever. I don't watch like watching film a whole bunch, but I will like if they're like, hey, pay attention to this, and I'll go back and look at it, you know, like, or hey, in this fight, look at how he was doing this or what happened there. Then I'll go and watch it. But I'm definitely not one of those guys that like will spend hours on hours, watching film, because bro, the fight, it's a fight at the end of the day, and so many things can happen, and then you got to go on the fly. And I don't ever want to be that guy that is like so focused on one thing, and then when it doesn't go that way, you know, it's adapt or die in there. It's adapt or die in life. So that's how I feel. So yeah, I'll do a little bit. But that being said, I really like, that's what I love too about Eric, what he brings to the table, because he comes from more of like a football background where, man, filming football is freaking like one of the highest priorities up there. These guys, in fact, I just was watching Receiver and watching how much they watch film and just like over and over and over. And so he comes from like that football background, and he brings that to the table where he will, you know, break that down, which I love because I don't have the time nor the patience to do that. So I'm glad that he does it.
We'll usually have like a debrief or like a pre-camp, but like he said, it's not a whole lot of technical things. For me, with him, it's a lot of like body language or ticks or reads. Hey, every time he does this is kind of what he's looking to set up, just so you're aware of it. I'll show you so you know, or his body language will do this, or he'll do this, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And it's not like, hey, we're going to watch tape, but like watch what he does here. Okay, cool.
Look for that.
Look for it. Look at this body language that he does with this, yada, yada, yada. And then, you know, a lot of guys, like Uriah Hall was like that. Uriah's like, I don't want to watch any tape.
Yeah.
You know, I just kind of want to figure it out, you know, but we all watch it. Sean doesn't watch tape. Sean will watch tape the night of the fight, or you know, like kind of plug it in. So to each is their own, but you know, you could overcoach. You can give them too much bandwidth. And then like what Brad's saying is like, you know, now you're hyper focused on shit and maybe never even see it. And it's a bunch of waste of time too. So
speaking of reads and coaching, overcoaching, it's an Apex fight. We've talked at length on and off camera about how he coaches differently in the Apex versus an arena. A, do you like fighting in the Apex just like at a base level? Do you like it? And B, is the way you fight different at the Apex versus like in a crowd? I assume not, but because, you know, he's talked about I do coach differently or say things differently. Is there anything that you do as a fighter when you're in the Apex versus at an arena?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest difference is just that the size of the cage. The cage is
a small cage,
the smaller cage at the Apex. Me personally, I prefer to fight in the arena because regardless of whether it's for me or against me, I love that energy from the crowd. Like I remember was like right after COVID, I fought, who did I fight? Omari, I think. And it was at T-Mobile, and it was the first fight back with fans, which technically our fight before that, we fought in Abu Dhabi, and they did like certain amount of fans allowed in.
The Middle East crowds are not like as
so it wasn't as like still it wasn't like a sold out arena, but I remember when I fought Omari, and like I feel like people had been just dying to be at fights, and bro, they were there like full power for the weigh-in, for the ceremonial weigh-ins, and for the fight. And I fed off of that, you know, like I love that feeling, like going out there and just the roar of the crowd, like that energy. I love it. So
yeah. Boston was like that. Like Boston was awesome.
oh, Boston was wild.
Yeah, Boston was wild, bro.
Yeah. Same question to you. Obviously, it is an Apex fight, and
Right.
so like different optics, right? Verbal optics, visual optics. Like, do you go into these weeks now like knowing or having like certain words, and you don't have to say those things obviously, but like, do you go into these weeks now when you know you're going to be coaching at Apex with like certain, hey, if I say this, it's because of this, or if I say that, it's mostly because of the refs?
Yeah, like you know,
like dummy calls almost.
Yeah, when Brad's fighting, I'm usually letting Ray take the lead on a lot of stuff, so I'm more speaking to the judges in my role. Like I'll speak very positive of everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
So yes, especially in the Apex venue, my role will be a little bit different unless, you know, Ray loses his voice or something, which he's done a bunch of times, or he's not all that on camera.
Yeah.
Like, whatever crazy shit Ray's got going on this week. But Ray is Brad's voice. So if I've seen something technically, I'll whisper it to Ray and allow him to filter what needs to be said because it is so quiet. Whereas, you know, I don't want there to be a time where I'm yelling, you know, takedown and Ray's yelling high 8,
right?
You know, in a kick. It's like that. Ray's the head coach. I'll say whatever I need to the judges as far as the politicking goes, and it's very, very prevalent in the Apex. Like yesterday, for example, you know, and I thought Adam in our corner, the jiu-jitsu kid from 10th Planet, did an amazing job. And right at the tail end of the round, he was saying, we can steal this round. And I said, don't say steal. We're winning this round. Right? Like, and he's like, oh, I didn't think of that. Right? In that moment, right? Just think out the power of what you're saying to these judges that are sitting here and here. The other one's not going to hear you. Right. But the ones that are sitting on these sides, like, we could steal this.
The majority can hear you.
Well, you're saying steal it, meaning that we're down.
We're behind.
We're behind. No. Like, hey, seal these rounds up. You're winning. You're doing great. You know, you're landing all the shots. You have all the damage. So things like that is where my role will be more significant in this fight.
Yeah. Speaking of that, it's a nice transition. I wanted to touch on UFC Denver yesterday. 2 days. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Man, my days are mixed up. I don't even know how you feel.
Oh, bro.
Wanted to touch on, you had a teammate, Julian Rosa, a guy you were obviously coaching in the corner. And I'll start with you. Just maybe talk about the week that was with Fight Week, how Julian was feeling, and then obviously how the fight went because he had a nasty guillotine.
Man, Julian, just one of the easier guys to be around. Yeah. Right? Like just super, super easy to get around or be around. Great dude. Just super funny guy. You know, so Fight Week is smooth, man. And a lot of times, like Brad said, you're focused on the weight cut. And Julian's a big 145er. He cuts a lot of weight. So once we made weight, man, it was where the fun began. Yeah. And Julian's the type of fighter that the game plan pretty much goes right out the window when the bell rings. Yep. Right? And that's that. And then, you know, that was my first time actually cornering him. Yeah. Coached him for the last 2 fights. But and then Eddie looks right over at me and was like, he don't listen for shit, does he? I was like, dude, this is chaos. Absolute chaos. But I think that's what makes him a fan favorite. Yeah. People love watching him fight. Right. And I've seen him repeatedly front headlock series and choke out top level dudes in our gym. So we know what he's capable of, and I think the world is starting to see, you know, his guillotine, his Dar series. And we used to joke with him a long time ago, like, bro, you can take people down. You realize that, right? You know? And I think that's when he started getting more confident when he submitted Sean Woodson, and you started seeing a little bit more of his jiu-jitsu game. So love the guy to death. He is a riot in the gym, but works his ass off, man. Yeah. This kid constantly works his ass off. I think something, too, to bring up that a lot of people don't know about with Julian was during COVID, he had been cut from the UFC prior. Well, a lot of people were taking short notice fights. People didn't want to fight. He saw that as an opportunity to get back into the UFC. So he was riding his bike.
I was just going to ask you about
this. Like 16 miles a day to get to the gym. And like what I love so much about his mentality, it wasn't like this posting of it look at me, look what I'm doing. He was just doing it because he had to. But he wanted to be in the gym, he wanted to be in shape, and he wanted to be prepared and ready to go. So I think him and his wife were sharing one car. She was working. He had no means of transportation, so he got a bike. But by doing so, it kept him in shape, and he had no excuses at all and got that short notice call, got back in the UFC, and then now look at him, man. He took that opportunity and ran with it. So credit to him. He's one of the hardest workers in the gym, but he does it like quietly. He's not like posting about it or tell everybody like, look at me. He just does his job the right way.
Yeah. He's not also telling people like, oh, I did 10 whatever today and I rode 16 miles. He's just doing what he does. Okay, guys, see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, I love that.
You guys are obviously a few weight classes apart, but like, what is the, and I guess this is just a general question for people that don't know like gym culture, but like, are you guys training together at all? You might be on the mats at the same time, but like, are there any ways in which you guys do train together? Do you talk a lot? Obviously, 3-4 weight classes apart.
Yeah.
So you're not sparring or anything, but like, how's that dynamic in the gym with someone like him?
Lately, because of the sheer amount of numbers that we got at Couture's, we've had to like split up practices a lot just to make space for everybody. Right. So Mondays are still together. So we see everybody. Everybody's there. But sparring days, Tuesdays and Thursdays are split. And then the big guys, we kind of created our own like the little guys have kind of their own practices, and the big guys, you know, we had to split it up that way just to make space for everybody. But yeah, so like Julian and I, we don't ever physically get to like train, but there will be times, and this is the nice thing, is that like, so because I sparred in the morning and I'm coming back for mitts or whatever it is, I get to watch the little guys spar, right? Dan, Kai, all of these guys, Julian, and then I'll get to give them my input. And it's funny enough what Eric was saying about the chaos. So when Julian like was, I would say, newer to the team at first, and bro, we have so many like guys coming in and out, it's almost hard to keep track. But then once they kind of establish themselves as like, okay, this is an actual team guy, not just here to train a little bit here and there. He's serious. He's contributing to the team. He's flying our banner. You know, like he's part of the team. That's kind of when I start like taking more notice to them. So Julian had been there for a little while, and he had a few fights. I don't know if it was like 2 back-to-back or whatever, but he was like winning and then just ended up getting caught. And then so I was like, oh, okay. Like I feel like I can, you know, maybe. Like, it's one thing coming from coaches, but maybe from, like, a peer, you know, another fighter. Like, maybe my words will resonate with him. So I started, like, watching him train and spar and stuff. And I'm watching him. I'm like, what? Bro, like, he's not making any of these mistakes. And then, you know, like, after watching him over time, I realized exactly what Eric said. Like, he's one of those guys that game plan just goes right out the window.
Dead red.
Yeah. Like, and he, you know, he'll take risks. He'll take chances. But that's kind of also what makes him who he is, you know, and I'm sure that's also part of his success. He is a fun guy to watch, exciting fights all the time, and he actually is really, really good all around, and great cardio, and like Eric said, he's actually a great guy, super funny guy. He and I did me, him, and Stamen, like him and Stamen together, man, that's a wild time. But we did I forget what it was for. It was something for the UFC though, but we did like some tour or something, whatever. And I spent like the afternoon with them. And bro, between the two of them, it's just wild. Yeah. Just the things they say and how they think, and they're just two special dudes. Yeah.
He was a big underdog in that fight too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh yeah, he was. I had to call Devin up.
Yeah, I think that guy was like, they're trying to
push him.
Yeah, they were trying to hype him like he's on the come up.
He trained with us. Christian Rodriguez trained with us for a little while. He's very talented, very good kid. You know, I think that the size difference to me was going to be huge. Although, you know, Julian wasn't using a lot of his jabs or his teeps to keep the distance. Man. But that was when, you know, that was a lot of the game plan, was to chop the lead leg and use your teep and use this. And then once that bell rang, and just, you know, went a little different. But obviously the front headlock series, and then, you know, everything that he does with his jiu-jitsu game, man. Like when Julian's on you, you know, not a lot of guys are getting caught with that guillotine out of guard. Yeah. And he set it up and got it. So
yeah. Did you stick around and watch the main event at all, or no?
I didn't. We went and got dinner, so I had it on. I saw the eyelash get blasted off her face.
Bro, what are we doing?
Bro.
I
Like,
didn't even know you could like do that. When I seen that, I didn't see the fight. I seen it this morning though.
yeah.
And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, I'm surprised that she was even like, like allowed. I mean, I guess moving forward, I'm sure commissions will probably make note of it.
Like, why wouldn't that be uncomfortable?
Well, that's
though?
what I'm
Like,
saying.
I don't
Like,
know.
okay,
I feel like that could get like stuck in your
that's
eye.
what
or
I'm
Right,
saying.
yeah.
Like makeup, like all right, whatever. Like it's weird because you're
Right.
fighting, but like okay, it can't fly off.
Right.
You know, like this
Yeah.
can fly off. It can get stuck in
yeah.
the eye. It could get.
Right.
There's all kind of like weird shit that can happen
Yeah.
in a fight. I saw that and I was like, is she wearing fake eyelashes in the cage?
Oh, dude, I loved like all week because Julian was like, when she cut her hair to make
Yeah.
weight, and Julian's like, "Oh, what a hero!"
Yeah.
Like just all eye roll. Like he's like, "I made fucking weight. I didn't have to shave my pubes."
So I didn't. I mean, you got.
Fucking Julian.
So wait, so you guys were there because the clip I saw was confusing.
Right.
Did she weigh in and had her hair in her hand?
I heard she weighed in, and then for the photo shoot part, Heidi was like, "Hold your hair."
'Cause I was like-
"Yeah," because that would make zero
Then why
sense.
the fuck did she cut it?
No,
if she,
so
if
the
she still made
the
weight?
video I seen, she cut the hair and she was holding it in her hand, and then she jumped on the scale, and then they were like, "Oh, give us your hair," and then so she handed it to somebody,
Made the
called the
weight.
weight, and then took it back. Like, yeah,
It's
that's
like her,
yeah,
like,
that's the video I
scalp.
seen, and I
What
don't know.
a hero!
I don't know if that's exactly how it went, but that's how.
That's crazy. I
that's
mean,
the
shout out
video
to
I
her.
saw.
She took the fight on short
Yeah.
notice.
And
All
she's
good.
tough, bro.
She's
She's tough.
tough.
It
Rose
was a good fight.
looked really good. I
Yeah.
watched like I think the first couple rounds, and then like
Yeah.
you should never say this in a fight because anything can happen. But like after like 2 rounds, I was like,
Oh, it's a
we,
wrap.
we see how this is gonna
Yeah,
go.
no.
She's gonna pick her apart.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The
Rose-
Dober fight was
the
insane.
Dober fight was
see
crazy.
it.
Did you watch that
Yeah.
one?
No.
Oh my
Dober fight was
God.
insane.
That cut was nasty. Man.
Nasty.
Like
Who got cut?
Dober,
Dober.
Who'd he fight?
that John Silva guy or Gene Silva.
He just
right?
fought like a couple weeks
Brazilian
ago
guy?
against
Brazilian
Jordan.
guy. Knocked out Jourdain 2 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
then, or whatever 303, and then bounced up a weight class and stopped Drew Dober.
Yeah,
So,
that cut was like
bad.
over the eyebrow.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was
It was
bad,
pretty
man.
nasty.
What, elbow?
Yeah, elbow,
Couple things.
spin elbow caught him, and then he got caught
I think
with
he
another
got
one. and,
Yeah,
like,
what initially like sliced him was like I think like a check hook because you know those gloves sometimes
Yeah.
can like
Yeah.
cut you. I think it was like a check hook that initially got him, and then he hit him with that spinning elbow,
to open it up,
and I think it
good.
just like
and,
opened it.
and then just started
Yeah.
targeting it.
Yeah,
You know, it was pretty nasty.
yeah,
man.
yeah. It was
Sheesh.
nasty. Speaking of targeting, did this whole attempted assassination with Trump? Did you see this yesterday?
I did. Why?
Like, we were just talking about it off camera with Victor and with Eric. Like, to me, it's so crazy that this could even happen in 2024.
Yeah.
Like, we're like the amount of security that you would think would be around a president or a former president or a future president, like, for that shooter to be so close felt kind of like insane. Like, how's that even? I don't even know how that's possible, man. That shit was crazy. I can't believe that shit happened in 2024.
Bro, but there is like, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with firearms at all, but there's so many different type of like I see these firearms that are like, and obviously this is not what he had because he shot off multiple rounds.
Yeah.
But bro, they have like credit card guns now, like that are the size of a credit card, and you can like you fold it into place, and it's like a 1 round or 2 round, the 22. Like I don't know, I'm just saying like kind of off subject, but yeah, the fire like it's 2024 and firearm technology and that like ghost guns and stuff is crazy. But yeah, when I seen it or when I heard about it, I was gaming and one of my boys was like, "Oh, they just tried to kill Trump or whatever," and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Really?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, he got shot at, this and that," and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, did they hit him?" And then we didn't hear nothing, and then boom, like 10 minutes later, it all started popping up. Then we seen the video. And then I was like, dude, what a freaking gangster, though. Like, bro, I watched the video, and he got shot in the ear, and he's like, and then the pop, and then he's like, oh, shit, I just got shot. But he's like, yeah.
I know. That shit was,
Yeah, I don't give a
that
fuck.
shit was so funny, bro.
What
Just
side
like,
you're on,
this
dude?
thing.
That was gangster.
It
bro.
was.
I don't
Yeah,
care
bro,
what side you're on.
That picture
Even-
goes hard.
Yeah,
Even
too.
if
like,
even
when
if that was fucking Joe Biden,
Right.
and like, bro, that's still gangster.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, maybe you should be a Secretary of Defense. Maybe
Dude,
that would
that was what my mom wrote me. My mom was like, "You didn't do your job today." I was like, "What are
Yeah.
you talking about?" said, "You said you're supposed to be." I was like, "That's Secret Service, Mom."
Yeah.
whole different part, whole different job.
That shit.
Yeah, it's sad, man. It's sad to see that, you know, at any phase, at any stage, you know, presidential candidates getting shot at. You know, rest in peace to the firefighter that was killed. First responder. That was
how many
shot.
died? I didn't see any follow up.
2 are in critical. 1 died on the scene.
Did the girl right behind him get clipped?
No, I think it came from the side.
Yeah.
Like, right? I think it almost came from this, because the picture of the bullet, right, Vic, is like
45 degrees off.
Yeah, it's almost like behind his head this way.
Yeah.
So like, I think no one behind him was like in the target zone or whatever, but it came like, it came from the side and like hit like this and went like that way.
If you watch the video, he right before he got shot, he moved his head. So it's like literally like he turned his head this way. And then it got hit in the ear.
Yeah.
So like if he didn't turn his head,
he would have got hit right in the head.
Holy shit, dude.
No, yeah, because I seen they slow-moed the video, and the girl right behind him, like, bro, like, she could have just been ducking, but it looked like she got slumped after the shot. Like, she just went whoop, straight down. Like, it wasn't even like she just went straight down.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, hopefully she's okay. And I was wondering.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was wondering that if anybody else had gotten like hit, because I was like, bro,
how about that sniper shot though,
dude?
The sniper got him like in the mouth.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I didn't see. All I saw was the photo of him obviously down on the roof. Like, you could see the blood, but I couldn't see or tell. Like, obviously it was like face or head, but like I couldn't see exactly
whoever sniped. The one thing about this, I mean, obviously I don't want to lose sight of the dude that lost his life.
Of course,
that you know, you're there to support your presidential candidate, and this guy lost his life because of it. But how about the dude just airballing and not killing Trump and then just getting shot?
Yeah, listen, let's not be insensitive about the first responder, like you said, but the memes that came from this, bro, I was laughing on Twitter for like 45 minutes last night just by myself.
The guy that took the shot, the sniper that hit him, like, that dude been waiting for this moment his whole life.
Bro.
He's like, I wish a motherfucker would. And he's like, today is my day
to shine.
Did you see 50 Cent? 50 Cent performed Many Man with the meme of Trump wearing his head and Get Rich or Die Trying?
Oh, yeah, he put Trump's face on the Get Rich or Die Trying album cover, and then he performed Many Men on stage.
What was the one about Bronny James?
Yeah, there was someone that said the sniper must have been Bronny James the way he went 1 for 8 on his shots.
Wow.
Man.
That's fucked up, bro.
Oh,
man, it's not funny, but it's funny. You gotta laugh.
Want to hear something crazy though about the whole thing? It's like they're talking about like Secret Service being like, you know, in like, hey man, like how did this happen?
Yeah.
And like the new head of Secret Service was like pushing DEI, like saying we need more women, we need more inclusivity. But there's also a policy that shooter had the sniper had the shooter locked to dead. That's why he was able to shoot him right away. But he was not allowed to pull the trigger until the shooter shot first.
Wow.
That's actual Secret Service policy.
Wow.
You have
Even
to
if
be
he
reactive.
sees the guy.
Yeah. Because what happens if a guy jumps up there and it's a telescope, the shooter takes him out, and it's an accident. But it's like, don't be a dumbass and be in a telescope on a roof.
Okay, but there's a difference between a telescope and then seeing the barrel of a sniper.
It doesn't matter. The Secret Service policy is to be reactionary. So you have to react to the shot. So you have to wait for the shooter to shoot before you can take him out.
What?
Yeah, I just heard that this morning on my way here.
That's
I just heard that on my way here.
Like, bro, it's the fucking former president of the United States, potentially future president of the United, like literally the most powerful person.
Well, look at his security. Now, I don't say this to be sexist or whatever, but his security, the main security people around him, if you see the video, 2 of them were females that were smaller than him.
Yeah.
As a Secret Service agent to protect the president, you need to cover him with your body.
Right. Yeah.
So Trump is 6'2".
Yeah.
And you have
Or
a
taller,
5'10", 2 5'10" females supposed to jump on top of him to cover him from being shot. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's like a lot of balls dropped.
It was weird, man.
And 2 months ago, they tried to pull Secret Service from him.
Yeah, well, I saw something about they were like I don't know about pulling it completely, but they were definitely like, I don't know, shrinking the detail or something, or like,
oh, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll just give you two girls.
I don't know, man. That shit was I still can't believe that can even happen in 2024. Like, I remember I don't know. I just think like precautions should be so much higher. I remember when Obama won the election, when he gave, I don't know why I have this like vivid memory in my head, but when he gave like the, what is it called? The commencement speech? No, the acceptance speech or whatever that night of the election. He was on a stage fortified by glass. Like what like you could see it was glass. Obviously had to be bulletproof or whatever. Super high. Like no one, you couldn't get a shot over the top, whatever. But that was like 16 years ago. Like how are we just having homeboy out in like any of these candidates, like just out in the open, like like it's just crazy to me. I can't believe that happened in 2024. Like I cannot believe that was even possible. Anyway, again, RIP to that first responder. I hope everybody and their families, can recover from this. So nothing to make light of, but just a crazy situation. All right, let's transition now. We did a Q&A on the Versus social media to ask questions, have fans submit questions for you. So I have a few that I want to ask you from fans of the show and get your answers on.
All right.
Okay.
Nice laptop, bro.
Yeah, hey man, I'm gonna put not sponsored right here, that a sponsor can just come sponsor this laptop, and then everybody can suck my dick. That's talking about my laptop.
Our monetization, dude.
Yeah, we could bleep it. Okay. First question from D_H0YE. How do other Hawaiians in the UFC inspire you, if at all? Guys like Holloway, Ige, Puna, etc.
Oh, they all inspire me because it's funny, like being from Hawaii. Yeah, we are American. We're part of America, but we are a little chain of islands in the middle of the sea, and our journey is different. I remember that coming into the Ultimate Fighter, and I remember that majority of the guys, even the guys not from America, even the guys from like Canada and other places, they all knew each other, and I didn't know fucking any of them, and none of them knew me. But I was like, dude, like, and so when I fought my first guy, I already knew, and even some of the guys after we had fought told me, they're like, oh, bro, yeah, we thought you were a rap, like you're some like foreign old kid from Hawaii, and this guy is like 10-0, 10 knockouts, and we all knew him on the
Utah kid.
Yeah, Utah kid, the teacher, Jordan Smith.
Yep.
And so they thought, oh, for sure. And they didn't broadcast it this way, but we were the first fight to get into the house in real time. We were the actual first guys. So I was the first person into the house to make it in. And I remember, like, they were telling me even afterwards, they're like, oh, yeah, we thought that, like, this was just like a layup for him, like, alley-oop that nobody knew you. Thought you were just going to get smoked. You only have 4 fights, blah, blah, blah. So our journey being from Hawaii is definitely a different journey, and I would say it's harder. It's harder. It takes a lot more for us to get out of there. It's like here, like even now, guys can like take a fight short notice, and if you guys know the MMA game, the small promotions, they're not paying for you and your coaches to come to this fight, and they'll probably pay you $500, $1,000. But if you can get here, we have a fight for you in 48 hours, like that type of deal. Like it's not realistic coming from Hawaii. One, financially, like to jump on a plane with only 48 hours notice to accommodate yourself, even just one coach. And it's crazy. A lot of guys from Hawaii will do it and fly by themselves and like kind of figure it out on the way. Like, oh, I got a friend's cousin's brother's nephew that lives in Oklahoma, and he said he'll corner you. And he's never watched fighting before, but he can give you water, like that type of deal. and so for any of the Hawaii guys to make it to this level, it's very inspiring, and it should inspire all the younger generation of Hawaii boys and girls to look up to them and know that, we did it, they can do it too.
How does it make you feel to be kind of the godfather for the Hawaiian fighters, especially at Extreme Couture?
Bro, so that was another funny thing. So it's like goes along with like the captain and the records. Like people tell me these things, and I don't ever really think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, blah blah blah. But then like I forget who it was I was having a conversation with, and they're like, no, bro, literally, like think about it. If you didn't come when you came and stay and like open these doors for everybody else to come, none of them would be here. And that's not to say that they wouldn't be where they are in life, but they just wouldn't be on this path at Extreme Couture. Well, most likely not. You know, they might be here, there, wherever. They might have not left Hawaii to come to Vegas. I am and was that like connection for them, you know. And like for guys like Dan, for example, like I literally was his connection. Like he came up, slept on my couch for a little while till he could get on his feet, you know, that type of deal. And I've done that for whoever I can. Like if I know them and they're cool, like I'll be like, yeah, I open my house and I'm like, bro, you can stay, you can couch crash, come train with us at Coutures, figure it out until you figure it out. So yeah, it is pretty cool. You know,
I think like it shows the culture, the Hawaiian culture.
Yeah.
More than anything, it was they, you know, very much they take care of their own. I feel like that. Like even Rob DeMello, I did an interview with Rob, who's a great reporter out in Hawaii, and like hearing it from him was cool because that's where Rob lives. He has the pulse of Hawaii. He's like, how does it feel to be an honorary Hawaiian? I was like, me? You know, like, and dude, I've been around these guys for so long. Played football with guys that were just legends when it came to Hawaii football.
Yeah.
But man, they're like just for Brad. If you're a Hawaiian fighter at Extreme Couture, we laughed about this with Ige. You've slept on Brad's couch at some point in your career, you know. So like, but for him to open his doors and allow that to happen, it just shows how much not only does he care about, you know, fighters from Hawaii, but like building the team and getting these guys the opportunity, the proper opportunity to be able to succeed. Because I look at Dan and I can say like Dan's not in the position that he is without Brad, right? He would have been successful. He would have found ways to be successful. I know that about Dan.
Right.
But just to be able to open the doors, you know, I know Brad had a huge impact on a guy like him.
Yeah. Speaking of guys you let sleep on your couch, we have a question. I'll let you guess who this is from. Do you still find chia seeds?
That's from Dan. So, bro, we'll fill everybody in. I don't know if he told the story, but yeah, so Dan came up, and at the time, like, he was all into chia seeds at the time, I guess. And I don't know why, but my man brought a jar or a container or some type of, container of chia seeds with him. And I'm like, bro, like, you could have just bought that here, bro. It's chia seeds, you know, like, but whatever. He brought it. Anyway, this thing busted open in his suitcase. He brings it into my house, and bro, there's chia seeds everywhere. Everywhere. And I'm not even kidding, bro. Literal months, maybe even like close to a year later, I would like, just cleaning, I would like find a random like chia seed like in a crack or something, and I would just laugh about it. But yeah, that was Dan. Him and his chia seeds.
Next one is from Yorkin1. What is your pre-fight ritual or any superstition? Do you have anything?
No rituals, no superstitions. I mean,
do you have like a meal maybe you eat every time after weigh-in?
Chicken Alfredo.
Like, yeah, like, right? Yeah, I don't even know why. Like, I barely even touch it, but it's just, yeah, I guess.
Hold on,
right?
You ready? He's got to have salt and vinegar chips.
Kettle chips.
He's got to have some salmon.
He said no, and then he just lists off like
Hold
8
on.
things.
What is his weigh-in? This is weigh-in. Like, I don't have pre-fight rituals, but this is post-weigh-in rituals, I guess. Different question.
Okay.
All right, hold on. This is my favorite, though. Tell him about the blow dryer.
Oh, bro, blow dryer, that's my secret. That's for only people. That's for only people that know me well that can experience that.
We don't get the blow dryer story, huh?
Nah, I turn on, like, so when I cut weight, and I guess it's because, like, you lost so much water or whatever, like, fucking, I'll get cold, bro. And, like, I'll be under the blankets, and I'm like, dude, like, it's crazy, too, because we just sweat, you know, like, we're just hot. You'd think, like, you'd want to be cold, but no, you get cold randomly. And so I'll put on the blow dryer and, like, put it under the blanket to, like, heat it up.
Just to get warm?
Just to get warm.
This dude, he'll be laying on the bathroom floor. You'll just hear the blow dryer running. He's laying on the floor, the air hitting him.
Oh, here, bro. So here's a funny one. So back in the day, in the young days, when I used to go out and get drunk and stuff, I would come home, and if it was one of those nights that were like borderline, like, oh, I'm not gonna make it, and I don't know if I'm gonna puke or whatever, I would find myself always in the bathroom, And a few times, and I had to stop this because I was like, okay, I'm a big dude, so like most likely I won't drown in my shower. But I've went in the shower, filled it up with like hot water, like and then passed out, and then woke up hours later or in the morning, the next morning, or like later that morning, like in the daytime, right, and just been like shriveled and freezing because I fell asleep in
For
what?
hours.
Yes, bro.
Oh, yeah.
And so then I stopped. So I stopped doing that. So what I'll do is I'll go in the bathroom because I'd want to be near like the toilet, in case I gotta puke. So I'll go in there and I would just lay on the floor and I would turn on the blow dryer because the blow dryer would keep me warm, and I'll just pass out.
So how we found this out is like I would do the same shit. I'll turn the shower on and I'll lay on the floor.
Well, I was gonna say
Like,
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I'm always like laying. I'm always just shower running, and then Brad's like, "Bro, you ever do the blow dryer?" Like, this is how this whole thing came up like years ago.
Bro, and I've burnt myself before with the fucking blow dryer. Turn that shit on like. And then fucking woke up, it's still going, and I'm like, fucking shit just burning me.
Oh shit. Last one here. This is kind of just for me. I'm curious about this. As someone with kids, your daughter trains jiu-jitsu like all the time in the gym. How do you feel about them if they? I don't know if they've expressed this to you yet or not, but how would you feel? Like, do you want them to fight? Do you not want them to fight?
Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. Bro, it's hard enough for me to like see my boys do it, and granted when it's going great, cool, but you also see the lows too, right? Like the injuries, and just fighting is brutal, like the cuts and broken bones and whatever it is. Like, bro, I don't think I'll be able to see my daughters go through that. And then on top of that, knowing what the fight life is like, which is a weird thing because I love my life. I love what fighting has given me, the families I've made, the stories, the memories, all of it. I love it. I love the day-to-day life. I love the camaraderie. You know what? Honestly, after football in high school, I never thought I would find that same camaraderie again, and I did through fighting. Like I look forward every day to going to the gym and seeing these guys and just talking shit and and training together and all of that. But so I love it. But that being said, I don't want that for my daughters. And even if I had a son, or if I do have a son in the future, I will not want that for him. I want him to be, obviously, know how to fight. He has to know how to fight. I want them to know how to fight and protect themselves. This is a shitty world we live in. They need to know it. But I would probably push, just like my daughter, my older one, I'm like brainwashing her to be a doctor. Like, oh, you're gonna be a doctor. The younger one is a little more, she's only 2 and some change, and she's a little more wild, so she might be the one that wants to do that. But even her, I'll push her into other things like jiu-jitsu. I'm fine with, right? That's fine. And then even if I have a son one day, I'm gonna definitely try to get his ass in the NFL. If anything.
Speaking of, what's the over/under for the Raiders this year? Look
what,
it up on your laptop,
games,
bro. Look it up on your laptop. Yeah,
7.
All right, over/under.
Okay.
Raiders
7 wins, right?
7
You're
wins.
talking about wins, right? Yeah, 7.
7's the number.
6.5.
6.5.
There we go.
BetMGM 6.5.
Yeah.
All right, what we got?
Over,
of course.
yeah.
Optimistic
Over.
Raider fan.
You know that.
Yeah. I will say, you Raider fans, like, the resilience is actually
Bro,
insane.
like
because you guys every year think that it's gonna be
you
like,
guys.
No.
This is the Raider fan.
Yeah, I'm saying you
No,
guys.
no,
I'm
no,
not
but
saying
no,
you.
like, I'm not-
I mean, you got the hat on, but
No, so
yeah.
I'm not a delusional cowboy fan who thinks every
right.
year is
They're
their
the
year.
worst. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
super realistic.
They're
Like,
the worst.
I'm looking at it like, okay, we got this, and this, and I'm never like, this is gonna be our year. Being a Raider fan, you have to know that you just gotta pray for the best. You gotta pray for the best and expect.
Hey, something better changed because Devontae Adams about to beat the whole team's ass. If you're watching that
100%.
receiver
Bro,
show.
you cannot even like
Can't blame him.
look at
Yes.
the shit that's happened to the Raiders over these last few years. The Josh McDaniels, the Gruden with the emails and all of that crap. Like, you never know what to expect. Like, you gotta expect the unexpected. So you just pray for the best.
Yeah.
You just pray for the best. But what I will say
Yeah.
is that this year, as this is probably the most excited I've been, and 100% is because of Antonio Pierce, and not like, obviously as far as his coaching experience, it's not really there yet.
Right.
But you just see what he brought out in the guys the last half of last season from when he took over. Like, he's just a leader, you know? Like, it's different. Like, he's a leader. He might not have all the coaching accolades yet, but he can lead these guys. He can get the most out of them, which is, like, super important.
Yeah.
You know?
I would love to ask
It's
him
like
that.
an Eric.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I would love to ask him that, but you, E, as a coach, too, because you look at, like, some NBA or NFL coaches and players' coaches, like AP, right, is a player's coach. Sometimes it works so well for a team that they're not even the X's and O's coach of their team. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like, hey, my coordinators are going to do the X's and O's stuff, and I'm just like holding everyone accountable, and I'm a player's coach. Why does that work? Why does the head coach not always have to be locked in, quote unquote, on X's and O's?
Well, I think a lot of times it has to do with whatever system. So remember, like, I'm a huge Florida State guy. This is Bobby Bowden for a long time.
Right.
Bobby Bowden was a figurehead.
Yeah.
He had a lot of great coordinators around him. Still, probably ran the X's and O's, but it just was more of an aura thing. I look at it a lot the same with Dion. I don't think of Dion to be an X's and O's guy. I think of him to be more of a figurehead, a motivator. That only will get you so far, right? Like, eventually you're going to run into somebody that's going to outsmart you or outwit you when it comes to the game. So in that time, you want to try to catch up and make sure you're doing all these things and to get there. So if Antonio Pierce is that guy to draw the motivation out, pull the dogs out of these guys, hopefully there's enough around them, coordinator-wise, X's and O's-wise, that could put them in those right positions to win games. But I'm with Brad. I feel like when you watch that team the last couple years, it was almost like when you hear like Josh Jacobs, like, why are we okay with losing? And we talk about this all the time. Like, you lose a fight, you're not supposed to go to an after party, bro. There's no fucking after parties, bro. Like, we're pissed, we're going home, right? Like, we didn't do our job. Where you start seeing that at the NFL level, and granted, they're getting paid way more than we're seeing.
Way more.
But to that same point, it's like, you see these guys on the team, they're like fighting. Fight, like Devontae Adams. You said, like, this dude, when he said, I only have so much time left, you felt that. Like, this dude was trying to win. He's trying to win. Max Crosby, every time out, trying to win fucking football games, bro.
They got some dogs, dude. I wonder what it is, because, like, for the longest time, it was always like ownership, Raiders ownership, this, that, and third. But they've done tremendous with the Aces. Same ownership group. Aces are fucking incredible.
Sure.
So, like, I wonder what it is about the Raiders. Like, this, like, I'm not saying they're cursed, but, like, they just, like, they have the talent, or they have the coach, or they have this, or they have that, and it's just, like,
just a lot more parity within the competition, though.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I think that it's easier.
Their division's a killer, by the way.
Oh,
too.
100%.
I think it's easier for them to have done it with the Aces because of the level of competition of the other
teams.
X amount of teams out there. Whereas, like, in the NFL, like, bro, like, this, you're not gonna just come in and whip some magic together. You know, it's gonna take time and pieces. But, like, the Antonio Pierce thing, what I just thought about too is, like, back in the day, like, when we were young and growing up in Hawaii, like, I started fighting because we used to get into fights, right? And it's like Antonio Pierce reminds me of the guy that, like, he's the type of guy, not reminds me of this guy, but he's the type of guy that you'll have this friend that he's not the best fighter,
right?
That, like, you don't get confidence from him because, like, oh, this fucker can scrap. So we're going to go out and whoever, like, bang, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
No, but he's this guy that he's like, he can fight.
Yeah.
But he might not be the greatest fighter.
Right.
But he got the fucking balls that he's just
He's
like,
always down.
bro, he's just like, he's game. Like, so you don't care. Like, you're like, oh, like, you just get that fucking, like, bro, if this fucker can have that confidence and that dog in him, then I can. So fuck it.
I love how the Raiders shield means something to him.
Yeah.
That's what he grew up on, and being a former linebacker.
Yeah.
A former Super Bowl champion who's done it. He's walked in those shoes. I think it says a lot about the character of the coach, right?
Yeah.
The guys are gonna follow that lead, and hopefully, man. Like I was never, I wouldn't say never a Raider fan. But obviously with them moving here, me being born and raised in Las Vegas, my best friend over here, that's his squad, so I'm riding with my guy, and then, man, like, how much love we get from like Max and the Raider players. Like they love what we do too.
Yeah.
So supporting our team, supporting our guys. You know, it's
who's your team by the way? NFL. Do you have one?
I really don't, but like we were season ticket Chargers holders for a long time. So like Sean Merriman was our guy.
Yeah.
And then the Chargers left. We get the Raiders, and that's like that did not mix. But growing up, I really idolized Jack Tatum, Bo
Steelers.
Jackson, Fred
Bo
Biletnikoff.
Players.
More so
you know
players,
what I mean?
yeah. Like more so players. So yeah, I always had that love for a lot of the Raider players.
Yeah, that's dope. How did you become a Raider fan in Hawaii? Is that like Hawaii's team?
Nah.
No?
So in Hawaii, probably the biggest fan bases is Cowboys, Steelers, Niners, and then there's a few here or there.
How the Steelers get all the way out
and then
there?
Raiders. Sorry, and then Raiders. But nah, my mom and a lot of my family was just Raiders fans, so I was kind of born into it, like from a young age, just liking them, and they look fucking cool as fuck. The colors,
The colors are sick.
the shield, like all of it. And then as I got older, and now I'm out here in Vegas, and I was able to go over. Every year we would go over to Oko and go catch a game. And then, dude, we got word that they were coming here. Yeah. And I was like, hell yeah. And it was something that I kind of always like admired as a kid, like of other people in places that they grow up in this city and they have, this is their team, regardless of how good they're doing or not doing. Yeah. But that's their team. You know what I mean? Like, this is the city they're from. That's their team. Yeah. Let's go, ride or die. And I've always loved that. Like, I've always had that. I don't know. I'm a loyal person like that.
Yeah.
Like with Couture's, like this is my team.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then the people that end up coming in, and like I said, like at first, like just because you sign the waiver and you train with us doesn't make you part of the team. Mm-hmm. But when you start contributing, now I see you as a teammate. Like I'm like, regardless of how harsh I am to them, like if you know me, I talk a lot of shit to everybody all the time.
Yeah.
And
the time.
No matter like bro, they're starting to learn. Like the more shit I talk to them is probably the more I like you. Yeah. And like these guys, like they might not know it, but fuck, if they needed me, I'm there. Like like I see them as like, this is my teammate now.
Yeah.
You know.
How was growing up in Hawaii? Like, just can you talk about like how you grew up, where you grew up? Obviously, you played football and you ran track, right? You did track and field a little bit, or
field. Like
field.
Yeah, I ran one race one time just because they're like, oh yeah, let's get all the throwers to do it. It was the stupidest idea we ever had. I fucking hate running.
What'd you do in the field portion? Shot put,
discus and shot put.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we just kind of did it because the football boys didn't have anything to do at the time, so they're like, oh, let's go do that.
Yeah.
All right, if we all doing it, we all doing it. But yeah, so I grew up from, I was born on Oahu, and then before I even can remember, before I was like even a year old, we moved to the Big Island, and I was raised on the Big Island on the east side, Hilo side. Went to Waikea Elementary, intermediate, and high school. Grew up playing, at first, my first sport was baseball, and then I kind of fell out of love with baseball right around the time of high school when I was, I think 5th grade, whatever the youngest is that you can play tackle football is when I first started playing football, and I fucking hated it. We were on, when I was young, on my side of the island, Keaukaua was like the dominant team, and everybody wanted to go play there. So kids from other parts of town and even other sides of the island were coming here just for football season to play on this team. Yeah. And anyway, that's the team that I was playing for. So this year, my first year of eligibility to play, the team was so big, they had to make 2 teams. So they made Keaukaua Gold, which was the regular team, and Keaukaua Blue. So I was a first timer there or whatever, so they put me on Keaukaua Blue. Never played football before. Okay, boom, you're on Keaukaua Blue. I was a starting quarterback for Keaukaua Blue, and we got our ass beat every single game. And that's what I thought football was, just getting my ass beat, sacked and tackled and pounded. And I was like, yeah. So after 1 year, I was done with football. And then 9th grade, Devin was like, bro, let's go try out for football. I was like, okay, let's go. And I was bigger now. I grew. I fucking put on weight. Like when I was young, I was super skinny and fast and all of that, and it didn't go well, but now I'm bigger, I'm stronger, right, and I got weight to me, and now I'm hitting guys, and I'm like, I love this. So I fell in love with football, like I've always liked the sport of football, but once I
Right.
started playing it, I was like, oh man, I love football.
What position you play?
So linebacker. So
Oh,
the
so
school
you
I'm
was just
from,
hitting people all
yeah.
day.
So the school I'm from it was a small school, or not. It's not a small school, but just there wasn't a whole lot of like people. It's not like one of those schools where they actually like. I don't ever remember them cutting anyone for athletic reasons. Like
Right.
maybe like if they fucked up or was a shitty teammate or whatever, then they got cut. But like it wasn't like, oh yeah, we got a tryout. It was called tryouts, but everybody made the team. But because of that, we had to start both ways. So I always started linebacker and actually O-line on offense. And O-line was actually really fun because you just got to smoke fuckers, like hitting every time. But linebacker was my favorite, and that's what I played. But yeah, and then just growing up in Hawaii, fighting is what led me to fighting. I remember being young and wanting to do like karate or boxing, and my mom was like, "No, you're not doing any of those. You can play sports. That's about it." And I was like, "Fuck, whatever." And then I just started getting into fights. And then it wasn't until after high school, I went to a JUCO in San Diego, Palomar Junior College. I came back. I was 240 pounds out of shape, just big and needed to, do something to get back into shape. And at that time, the gym wasn't for me. Like I couldn't just, I didn't know what I was doing. So that's probably why too. And I had no motivation to be there. So then I was like, fuck, I want to like do something. There's no football that I can play.
Right.
So I was like, I started just training. Like this kid I was working with at the time was like, hey, we train in this guy's garage. You want to come train? I was like, yeah, how much does it cost? He's like, free. I was like, sign me up.
$3.99.
This is in San Diego or Hawaii?
No, this is in Hawaii. I
Oh,
moved
okay.
back to Hawaii. Sorry. So after one failed semester in San Diego, I moved back to Hawaii.
Got it.
And then, so just started training. And then the owner, Steve Farmer, he's like a black belt Taekwondo. And he just kind of started getting into MMA too. Like it was like the fad at the time, right? And he was
And
like,
what year is this?
this is like 2007.
Okay.
Yeah, 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was a black belt Taekwondo, and he turned his like dojo into just like training for MMA. And it was really like, it was super cool of him. He opened it up to whoever, and we would just kind of like shit that we would see on YouTube or fights. We would kind of like train it. And then we had like random different people. So like he came from a Taekwondo background, so he could show us kicks and stuff. And then I had friends that were from like Waianae that box, so they would show us like boxing stuff. And then the jiu-jitsu thing was kind of just fucking YouTube and learn.
Bang.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, like a month after training, he's like, you want to fight? I was like, sure. And then, bro, like he got me a fight. It was this thing called Got Skills. First minute, you have headgear, 16-ounce gloves, and shin pads, and it's all kickboxing. And then the second round is 2 minutes. You take off the shin pads. It's boxing with takedowns. And the last round, you take off all your gear, and it's just grappling starting from the feet. I won that, and that first one was at like 200 pounds, but I was like, I always knew, like I still was soft, and I was like, bro, I know I can go to 85. And then so right after that, he's like, you want to fight MMA? I was like, sure. And then so he got me an MMA fight, and then I cut down to 185, had abs for the first time since I was like in 5th grade. And knocked out the guy in the first round, and then I ended up at MMAD, and then the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
When did Ultimate Fighter come into the picture?
So 2009. Yeah, in 2009, I had tried out for season 10, and then they called me, and they're like, hey, we're going to use you. Bro, they gave me the whole breakdown.
Was that the Kimbo season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're going to fly you out this day. You're going to stay at Palace Station. You got to do this, that, whatever.
Palace Station.
Yeah,
Shout
Palace
out.
Station, which is where the fight this week. That's the host hotel.
Is
Palace,
it really?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Hey, Oyster Bar, shout out.
Yeah. So they hit me up, and I was like, bro, I was stoked. I was like, yes, I made it. And then, bro, like, I don't know what it was, like a week later or something, they called me back, and they're like, hey, so unfortunately, we're not going to use you. And they couldn't tell me anything else. So I just felt, bro, I was so deflated. I was like, I really felt like, fuck, like they picked somebody else over me. And then my boy Scott Jung, he got casted for the show. So he went. And then when he got back, he ended up telling me, he was like, oh, yeah. So it was all heavyweights. So
I was going to say, it wasn't your weight class, right? Yeah.
So they were supposed to do heavyweights, middleweights. But because Kimbo was like the selling point of the show, they were building it off of his name.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford him not getting into the house. So they made it all heavyweights, and they didn't have to fight to get into the house. So that they secured his spot in there like that.
Yeah.
And then, so the following season was middleweights, and I was on that one.
So you were in Hawaii, and then they flew you to Vegas for the season?
So I was in Hawaii, and then the trials was in Seattle, so I flew to Seattle, came back, and then in between season 10 and 11, I moved to Vegas.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I moved to Vegas, and then just so happens they called me back, and they're like, hey, we're actually going to do middleweights. We'd love to use you. And I was like, okay, do I have to try out again?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, not necessarily, but Dana White and Joe Silva will actually be there in person, and they're never there. So if you can make it, it'd be a plus. And it was right in LA, right next door. So I was like, fuck it, I'll drive out there.
Yeah.
So I did it. I drove out there, did the stupid, hit the mitts, did the grappling, and then you're supposed to do an interview after that, but they're like, nah, you're good. You can go already because we already know you.
Yeah.
And then, so, yeah.
What was that like? What was that whole experience like? Because that was like...
What, the Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what was it like actually being in the house?
Fucking
and like,
one of the best experiences of my life.
Really?
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
facts.
Food
Bro,
and a roof over his head. Bro.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
so for the first time in my young adult life, which at that time I had just turned 22 right before filming. So for the first time in, 4 years, whatever it was, no obligations.
Yeah.
Like none. Like even in high school, I had more obligations. No obligations. You wake up, you eat, you go train, you come home, you go train again, you come home, and you just chill, and you're in a house with a bunch of other dudes, whatever. Like I didn't know them, but I made friends.
Yeah.
But that being said, I couldn't understand why like people were having such a hard time, and I was like, bro, like what are you talking about? Like this is the life. You want something, you literally write it on a piece of paper, and the next morning it's there. Like fucking like when else are you gonna have this in life? And then I was like, I'm gonna push their buttons. One day I was like, I don't want to train this morning. I'm gonna just sleep in. So I literally slept in. The producers came, woke me up. They're like, hey Brad, the shuttle's ready to go for training. And I was like, no, I'm not going today. They're like, no, you have to go today. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna go. They're like, no, sorry, you have to go. And I was like, really? They're like, yeah. And then, bro, so the shuttle just waited on me. I was like, all right, well, if I'm going, I'm making, kind of a diva moment, I guess. But I was like, all right, I'm going to brush my teeth, take my shower, I'm going to make my breakfast, and then I'll be in the shuttle. So, they all waited for me in the shuttle. And I was like, oh, this is great.
Who do you think you like hit it off with the most as far as like a team guy on that show?
Chris McCrae and Kyle Noak.
Yeah.
And then Jamie Yeager. Those were, and it was funny because... Wait, Noak was on my team, but McCrae and Yeager were on the other team. They're on Tito's team. But yeah, like what I was saying is that I understand. So now having kids and having a family, now I get some of the struggle for some of them.
Yeah.
Like if I had to do it again now, no chance in hell.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. I couldn't not talk to my kids and stuff for that long.
Yeah. Any like fun stories like that you can share from that season that maybe people don't know about? Like
yeah. So it's funny. Somebody had just asked me about this recently at the gym. Actually, they kind of showed it, but not really. And if you had gotten the DVD, or if anybody had watched our season on DVD, it was in like the bonus features. So I'm like a pretty clean person. As far as like, I don't mind like I wouldn't say I'm well organized, but clean.
Yes.
Like hygiene, clean, like nasty ass dishes in the sink and like stacking up all over the place. That shit is nasty to me. So anyway, I was the youngest. I was the kid amongst men. I like literally there was guys 10, 11, 12 years older than me in there. And I was like the cleanest guy, and I would always clean up after myself, and a lot of the guys would too, but a lot of guys wouldn't. So there would always be fucking everyday stacks of dishes, and it would make it a pain in the ass, because now if you want to use something, you gotta wash something, and it's like, bro, I'm fucking 22. I'm not here to clean up after you fucking grown men.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, sorry, I realize I'm swearing a lot. Is that all right?
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
fire away, dude.
It's
You know whose fucking podcast this is, right?
Yeah.
Bro, so no, I heard him say something about we gotta bleep something out. That's why.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was like, you know what? I told him, I was like, bro, like you guys are grown men. Fucking clean up after yourself. Oh, okay, whatever. So, bro, very next morning, wake up, dishes again, stacked high. I said, bro, fuck this. So I left. There was 8 on each team. There was 16 of us, I think it was, or
Damn.
12. I don't know what it was. However many of us there was, I left one of everything for each person. So 1 cup, 1 fork, 1 spoon, 1 knife, 1 plate, 1 big plate, 1 small plate. All the dishes, I left 1 of everything so that everybody would have 1. I took all the rest of it. At this time, we were filming in January, so it's cold in Vegas. They didn't heat the pool for us, so nobody except me would go in the pool. I would go jump in the cold water. I didn't care. So I put it all in a trash bag, and I was like, I'm going to go sink it in the back of the pool. So I sank it in the back of the pool, and this is like one of those weird pools, like a rich person's pool where it's not like a normal, just plain
like a
pool.
lazy river type.
Yeah, so there was like a back corner I could hide it. So I sank it. Anyway, some weeks went by. Chris McCrae, he was swimming one day. He was like one of the only other people that would get in the pool. And he's like, yo, what is this? And I was like, oh, shit, I should have told him because he found it and he brought it all out. So I was like, whatever. Like, we went a week or 2 weeks without dishes, whatever. So I told them, I was like, bro, like, the dishes is back. Like, fucking clean up after yourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Bro, like a day or 2 went by, right back
Stacked
to what it
up.
was. I said, fuck this. I broke them all. I broke all the fucking dishes. Bro, they're like, my team is like, what are you doing? And I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Like, so I went outside. There was like a rock right outside. Bro, I just started smashing everything on the rock. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, that's something that they didn't show in the actual filming, only on the bonus features.
That's insane. Breaking
Fucking
every
Brad.
damn dish. And then obviously from there, your career obviously kicks off. You've been in the UFC. We talked about 14 years now. Is there kind of a 2-part question? Is there a memorable fight that stands out to you? Could be opponent, place, finish, not finish, whatever. And then a memorable fight you guys have had together, from a coaching standpoint. But you can go first.
I would say for me, as far as just most memorable fight, is I always go back to the Phil Baroni fight. It was my, I guess,
That's so
technically
crazy that you fought Phil Baroni.
second fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
But the first fight was on the Ultimate Fighter finale. I'm fighting for a contract. It's at the Pearl, at the Palms. So it wasn't, I don't know, like it just didn't hit me the same way. Mm-hmm. When I fought Phil, we fought at MGM. I'm walking out and like, bro, I don't know what it was, just the music. And it's funny because if you know Vegas fights, I was one of the earlier fights and place is kind of dead, but still a lot of people, compared to what I'm used to fighting in Hawaii.
Especially the MGM. That's such a cool venue.
Yeah.
Like, I like T-Mobile. It's cool and everything, but there's nothing beats the MGM.
Bro,
for
I
me.
miss MGM.
Yeah.
I miss Mandalay.
Yeah.
I miss those. But yeah, was walking out to that one. My music hitting, like, I don't know. I really, like, for the first time in my career that I, like, really took it in on that walk. Like, oh, damn, I made it to the UFC. And maybe it was, too, like, it was a guy that, had been around for a while. That maybe part of it was who I was fighting and the venue and all of it. But, yeah, I would say, for me, that was probably the most memorable.
Yeah. What about for you?
I mean, dude, they're all special
Yeah.
to me. I remember the Marquardt fight stands out to me a lot just because of like what he was saying. I think it was at MGM. Marquardt, yeah. But just knowing
The New Year's card.
yeah, how good Nate was. The October 1 shooting. that we fought
that one was
week.
heavy, bro.
Heavy, bro.
That was Kevin Lee and Ferguson
Yeah.
main event.
Kevin Lee Ferguson.
T-Mobile.
Yeah,
We fought
I was
Talis
there.
Latis.
Yes.
Yep.
And
remember
I had
that.
asked Dana if it was cool if we carried the Nevada flag.
Yep.
We were the first fight of the night. You know, yeah, that was heavy. It was
Yeah.
heavy. It was different. You know what I mean? But it felt like important.
Yeah.
You know?
Was that when they like did the national anthem right that day for the first time ever at a UFC event, or was it America the Beautiful or something?
I can't remember, man. But
I remember that,
You
'cause
just felt the gravity
yes,
of
yeah,
it all.
it was heavy.
You know?
it was
Yeah,
super
that-
heavy.
That whole week, that was heavy. Because, yeah, I remember it happened a week before the fight. and then just the whole rest of that week, and then just the energy in the air was different that night. And then I remember must have been right after the fight, like shortly after the fight, we went to the inaugural season opener for the Golden Knights, and bro, just the energy in there too was it was a trip.
It's heavy.
That whole week, that whole month maybe.
The Kyle Magalesh one, because we were in a fucking elevator that
that
crashed.
fell.
Where was that?
That was Cleveland.
Cleveland, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. We had some staff that got caught in the elevator too.
Oh yeah. I got video for it. I'll give you some video and some photos. But
I remember that.
we overloaded this bitch.
Yep.
We took it
Maki
down.
almost died, literally.
Maki almost died.
Bro, he would have got.
It was nuts, bro. So like this is Wyndham. I can't remember the hotel. I don't want to say the wrong hotel.
I remember. I was there. Yeah,
But it was old. It was an old hotel. So all week long, the elevators were like, there's like 3 elevators that were working, and then there was 3 elevators. Always 2 were working, right? One was always out of service.
yes.
And it was like, come on, dude. So we get done with weigh-ins. We're all coming back. You know how everybody floods the hotel.
Yeah.
So Brad, Ray, all the boys, Verdum's on the card. Babalu was there. So they all get in the elevator, and I look at Maki because Maki was with Yance.
Yep.
So
Yancey was there too.
Yeah.
Yancey was there too. So I looked at Mock, and I was like, hey, let's run up these stairs, and we'll catch the elevator on the 2nd or 3rd floor, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And Maki's like, all right, bet. So we come up the thing, we hit the button, elevator doors open, and it's packed.
Yeah.
Packed. So we're like, hey, let's squeeze in. Let's move. And then Verdum was like kind of like just joking around, but like kind of like front kicks Maki, right? Like, oh, get off the elevator. Like,
Yeah.
Verdum's always joking around. So I'm in the elevator. Maki is now like falling out of the elevator,
Oh, this makes
but
my
the
skin crawl.
elevator now is starting to move. But the doors were open.
Bro, it's weird, bro.
Yeah.
It was crazy, dude.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I see like the concrete from the next floor,
Yeah.
like this. And I grab Maki and I pull him into the elevator. And dude, I look and like I pull him like this, and I don't think Maki realized what was going on.
Oh, nobody realized.
And then I look at the guys like Brad and Ray and all the boys, and they're like this. Their eyes got all big, and then the door then stays open. The door stays open. The concrete comes like this, and we go up to like the 3rd floor, and then we just go drop, and you see the concrete, boom, boom, boom. We hit the bottom. Doors closed.
Bro, I didn't realize what was happening till we hit the bottom. Like
what did it feel like?
Wow.
I mean, like there's so many of y'all in there.
Nah, like
was
the fall didn't even feel like nothing. It was hitting the bottom.
Bottom.
That did.
Yeah.
We hit the bottom.
Yeah, when we hit the bottom, then you was like, oh shit.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, bro, that makes my skin crawl.
Yeah,
Bro,
CB
so
was
it's
on
like-
that card. He didn't
Yeah,
fight.
CB Dalloway was
Yeah, I know,
off
I
the
remember.
card.
Yeah, 'cause his back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hurt his back.
Roger,
Bro.
the guy from operations. I don't know if you guys know
Yeah,
who
yeah,
Roger.
Roger.
He was in one of those elevators too.
Was he?
Yeah,
I don't think
not,
he was
not the
on
one you guys were in, but there was another one. He
Right.
got stuck.
Yes, they
like,
got so
in
that
between
happened.
floors. with
That
concrete.
happened earlier in the
Yeah.
week. So they've been having problems
Yeah.
with the elevator the entire
Yeah.
time, bro. So this thing was chaos.
Yeah.
So we land and we're in the basement.
Yeah.
Right. The elevator doors then kind of close. I'm gonna send you all the video, bro. I
Yeah.
have it all still.
Send it to
so
me.
Ray and all of us were like, we're all kind of joking, but you can see like the panic in all of our faces.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember like grabbing the door and just fucking pulling the door open.
Yeah.
So down in the basement here comes Ali, Ali and Dan, Ige. And they're down in the basement. They're like, brother, we can hear you, brother. Help is coming, brother. Like, we'll get you out. That part was scary as shit. Because when they finally got the thing to open, the doors open,
Yeah.
that's when, like, the final destination, like,
Yeah.
scene kicks in. We're like, oh, is this thing going to start moving on us? We get up. So,
Dude.
yeah. So we all get out of the elevator. I'll send you the picture, too. We have a
Yeah.
group picture of all of us, like, pointing to live day. They take us upstairs and make us fill out like an incident report on the whole situation.
Yeah.
Bro, come to find out, like CB Dalloway was out of the fight.
I remember.
So he don't say shit to us. He fights, he wins. Fight's over, we go in the back, and he's like, bro, I didn't want to tell you guys, my back is fucked up. And me and Ray at the same time looked at Brad, we're like, dude, my back is killing me.
Yeah.
Killing
Yeah,
me.
it was like the
because it's the compression.
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
get
bro.
hit.
The jolt.
You
Yeah.
And I
felt
was
like
like-
more in your lower back and your hips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I told them, like, they know me, like, bro, I'm one of those guys that I don't like to say shit out loud because then now I'm admitting it's true.
Yeah.
So if I can fucking psych myself out to be
Right.
like, nah.
Yeah.
But bro, just when you were telling that, I think one of my most memorable road trips was our trip to Maine. and that one just because of like all the extra shit that was happening.
Yeah,
bro. Like we went to a grocery store, and this is when, like, bro, like you know Ray, like Ray is a jokester too.
Yeah.
So Ray was in this telling everybody, asking everybody, like, oh, you know D's nuts. So
he was 10 years out of it. Like,
bro,
we're like,
so
bro.
we went to a grocery store in Maine, in Bangor, Maine, fucking population 10. I don't know. There's this a small little town, and we go to this grocery store. The girl is ringing us up. She's looking down at her thing, chick, and then so he goes, "Oh, is D working today?" Bro, the chick looks up, and I kid you not, the chick is cross-eyed. Bro, like literally cross-eyed. And bro, right there, we all just started like, like, bro. And I've never, in my life, till this day, never ever seen Ray backtrack on anything. And he goes, bro. So the lady goes, D who? And it, bro, like perfect setup, bro. And we're all over like, it's me, him, Rob, and Ray. And then Ray is like, and like, bro, he's like looking around. He's like, oh no, this is like whatever. Yeah, he's like, oh no, I'm sorry, different store. And she's like, oh okay, because I was gonna say I didn't know no D. Bro, and the whole time we're like fucking trying to hold it together. We're like sweating. I was like, bro, I had to leave. I had to walk out, and I fucking, bro, we're just crying. And then on that same trip, Ray, as you know, president of what was World Series of Fighting at the time, he's like, hey boys, can you guys keep it down? I got to do a conference call. We're like, oh yeah, okay, we're chilling. So we're just in the room fucking hanging out. Ray's on his bed, puts his earplugs in, and he's like on his conference call. Bro, next thing you know, we look over at Ray, and this fucker's out cold. His phone is like on his stomach, he's out cold. And then bro, every couple of minutes, this fucker gets up out of nowhere, and he's like, I agree 110%, 110%. And then, bro, he slowly dozes off again. And, bro, we're all looking at each other and looking at him. And, like, what the fuck?
Life?
And then, bro, he's out cold,
like
bro.
snoring.
He's, like, snoring, bro. And I'm like, bro, these guys not hear him snoring? And it, bro, again, like, out of the blue, he's like, nope, 110%, I agree.
Back to sleep,
bro.
Kung Fu Panda.
It was the fucking craziest thing I ever seen. I was like, holy shit.
Dude. Oh my god.
Yeah. But yeah, bro, that has got to be, for me, just because of those things, one of the most
had some fun ass trips,
memorable trips. For
Abu
me.
Dhabi was fun. I mean, we made it fun.
Yeah,
Abu Dhabi was fun. You know, that was like I remember like a lot of that game plan was chopping that lead leg of Shoeface. And all camp on telling Brad, we're sending this motherfucker home in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of like just saying it,
Sure.
you know, but like, you know, so Brad and I are checking at the airport, and all of a sudden I see Brad like this and like starts like hitting me in the arm. We look, this motherfucker coming rolling through, pre-checking a wheelchair. Like, hell yeah, we got him. We got him, bro.
People you do that to.
Weidman too.
Yeah.
Talos Latest, bro.
Latest.
Well, Latest was the first time like, you know, we started like, you know, calf kicking was around, but it was just kind of getting new.
Yeah.
So, but Brad was so good with low kicks, and then I was like, "Hey, let's start experimenting with this calf kick, dude."
Yeah.
He fucked my leg up this whole camp, because he didn't have a pad.
Yeah.
Right. Like back then, we were just eating them. You know, he had his shin pads on. So then we get in the back and warm it up, and I'm warming up at Brad, and I'm like, "Well, you know, you're not gonna put on shin pads, dude." Brad fucked my leg up so bad in the warm up. So I'm like getting sympathy pains watching Talos Latest, because he's doing it like Brad's doing, trying to end your fucking life.
Yeah.
And he wasn't kicking me like that. And I don't know how that dude.
I don't know
how that dude made it out of that fight. Walked, you know.
Yeah.
Bad.
Last thing, real quick before we wrap up, Dricus and Izzy, you fought both of them. Any like, how do you see that fight? Not prediction, but how do you kind of see that fight going?
Bro, so here's the hard thing. Like with Dricus, when he fought Rob, I thought no chance in hell.
No chance.
I think we all did.
No shot.
I did for sure.
And then he did what he did to Rob, and I'm like, oh, dude, okay. Like he just keeps surprising dudes. So to me, in my head, I'm like, nah, Izzy got this. Izzy's gonna beat him. But Dricus is just one of those guys that he just fucking like somehow pulls it off. That being said, though, like, I still, not even biased, just straight up, I still believe that Sean won that fight. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. If I think Izzy has everything that he needs to, like, to beat him.
Yeah.
But I will not be shocked one bit if he does win. It's just one of those things, like, I've stopped, like, thinking that he has no shot in this,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, same with me. Like, granted, you know, things went the way they went. Like, when I fought him, I remember after the first round being like, oh,
Smoking
this guy has nothing for me. And maybe that fucked me up, you know, mentally laxed me a little bit. And dude came out and did what he had to do, opened up some cuts, broke my nose, and ultimately won the fight.
Yeah.
And then did what he did to Rob and freaking, I forget who else he fought after that. But, yeah, like, he's just one of those guys, like, he does have heart. I will give him that. He does have the heart. Like, his fights might not look the prettiest, you know, like Izzy's one of those guys. He has, like, the shit he does is really nice and cool setups, and Dreykus is really not like that. But, like, when it comes down to it, he's where he is for a reason.
Yeah. You cornered against both of them. Arguably, you beat Izzy, arguably beat Dreykus.
Yeah.
But how do you see that going from a coaching standpoint?
I'm with Brad. I think Dreykus every time out is gotten better.
Yeah.
And I think, like, and I've actually became friends with Dreykus.
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's a good dude. I think he's a good champion. You know, regardless of what the scorecard said, I felt like we could have done more. From our camp, we could have done more to solidify that as a win. But I would love that another opportunity. With that being said, even talking to Dreykus, I feel like he's starting to be more comfortable in who he is as a fighter. I think he's starting to understand what he's trying to set up and the ways that he's doing things. He can be awkward in a lot of ways, but a different style of awkward that Sean was to Izzy. But his awkwardness comes with more power, right? The biggest thing I think that I've noticed in breaking down Izzy, and for us, even when Brad fought him, was I wanted to eliminate the space. I wanted to put Izzy in the corner post and eliminate a lot of his movement. I think if Dreykus can do that, I think he can have a good night. I think he can beat Izzy. I think if Izzy starts to understand some of the things that you always should break yourself down, right, and find ways to evolve and be better. I think Izzy did that when he fought Alex Bejeda the first time. You know, he took him down a bunch, and he saw a hole in his game that no one was expecting Izzy to wrestle, and wrestled, happened to lose the fight, but showed some new tools and some new elements. That's going to be important, man, because there's so much tape, there's so much out there now in Izzy and all these fights that he's had. We're finding these holes and weaknesses. You have to go back and shore those things up. So, and I hope that's what he's doing, right? Because the middleweight division is better with Israel Adesanya competing in it, right? I mean, he's up there. He's up there when it comes to one of the greatest to ever do it. So I'm interested, man. I'm really looking forward to that fight because we have a lot at stake with it with Sean. But I lean towards Dreykus, to be honest with you. I lean towards Dreykus in that fight.
It's going to be interesting. I think a lot of people think the way you were saying, like, Izzy easily in this fight, just stylistically. But to both of your points, Dreykus finds a way, and he's getting better every time. It may be awkward and different, but he's definitely getting better every time.
Bro, and that's probably to his advantage.
Right.
Like, I remember prior to me fighting Izzy, he had said something about, like my style that he's so used to seeing it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then after we fought, like, it really sunk in, and I understood, like, what he was saying. Like coming from, like, just the kickboxing style where he is, like even all his 80, 90 kickboxing fights, you know, like, my style is more, like, used to what he's used to seeing.
Yes.
Whereas, like, even with Sean, like, Sean kind of frustrated him because, bro, you don't get that style.
Right.
Like, Sean has, like, it's very straightforward, but it is weird if you've never dealt with it, you know? Like, for me, I spar Sean all the time, so I'm kind of used to it now, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you've never sparred a guy like that or fought a guy like that, that could be new to you. And I think that's probably, like, the biggest thing that Dreykus brings to that fight is the fact that he is very awkward. You know, he doesn't do things, like, traditionally how the normal fighter would.
Right.
So that might throw Izzy for a loop, but we'll see.
Yeah.
What about the real fight? David Goggins versus Sean Strickland. Oh, bro.
Are they gonna box first or run?
I don't know,
first?
bro.
Run.
Our guys, man. Like when this dude doesn't have a fight, this is the shit we deal with.
Oh man, he even said the other day, he's like, I gotta get off Twitter.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
like,
Please
yeah,
do, Sean.
Please do.
Please do. Yep.
Oh man. All right, I think that wraps it up. I think that does it. Fighting this weekend, UFC Apex. Anything you want to say to the fans? Last minute message before you go to your fight this weekend.
As always, thank you guys for the love and support. I appreciate it, and it means a lot to me.
That does it for this week's episode of Verse Us with Eric Nixick. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube, and make sure you follow at VSUS Pod on all social media. Also, make sure you like and subscribe on all the platforms you get your podcast, the audio versions, Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeart, all the rest. And we'll see you next time.